Welcome to Believe in Clemson Football. I am Will Vandervort. That is Alex Dodd. Obviously, we're presented by FanDuel. Appreciate you guys being with us for a rare Sunday podcast, I guess, Alex. But this is something actually going to be doing with Ashby, and you're welcome to come on too. Is not going to try to do them more like I did the spring game where we had instant analysis. Going to try to do that LSU game, obviously a night game, not getting over till way hours of the morning. Nobody's going to be watching a podcast at 4 a.m. So that'll be a Sunday podcast, obviously, I will be doing. But we'll do some right after the game, most instances. And so we're kind of, going to do some different things. And this is one of the things we're doing different now is we're going to be doing our Sunday podcast and kind of breaking things down. And, today it's fall camp. Man, and it's me and you, we were going to do one. I know a couple people out there. I told I was going to do a podcast, and then I got the flu. So Will was out.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't even know we weren't doing it. I was sitting in here ready to go and checking to see if Will was alive, and he answered the phone and very much was not.
I forgot to call Alex. That's how sick I was.
I said, Will, are we doing this? You said, no, man, I don't feel good. I'm like, yeah, I can tell. I can tell you don't feel good.
So, hey, we appreciate you being with us. I know some of you guys are probably just now getting back from church or whatever, and I know Alex is the same way. First of all, Alex, how's your Sunday going? How's your weekend been going?
It's been a busy weekend. We did 3 things yesterday, which is a lot for me to do on a Saturday in the summer. So today has been chill. We went to church, came back, ate some Firehouse subs, and lounged around, watched the Red Sox lose to the only team that can beat them nowadays, which is the Oakland A's or Sacramento A's or Las Vegas A's, whatever they are. For some reason, they're the only team the Red Sox can't beat, so they lost that game. But, just chill Sunday.
There you go. That's kind of me. I went and played a little tennis. I obviously feel better. Played some tennis. Went and walked the dikes there in Clemson. Anybody who's been around Clemson knows what I'm talking about. And, nice afternoon. I feel good, Alex, ready to go. I was like, hey,
let's do some football team sprints up the dike?
No, I walked them. I didn't run up the hills to them, because those hills are like this, man. And
I'm aware.
And so I was just like, I'm not going to touch that. But it was nonetheless a good, refreshing weekend and feel rested, and I'm ready to go tomorrow, get back after football practice. Today was a day off. Dabo always takes Sundays off, and we appreciate him for doing that because not everybody does that. Not everybody takes that Sunday off for camp, but Dabo's always been big about that and does it. So that's nice for us sports writers to know. We're definitely getting Sunday off. We got Sunday. We don't have to really do anything, so we can kind of have a normal life. But then Monday it ramps back up again, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll be giving you all the camp news that we can give you. So come on, Will. What's this now? Come on, Will. Sprint up that hill. All right, Tiger Ball GT. I hear you, baby. Hey, man, 20 years ago, I might have could have done it. Maybe 10 years ago, I could have done it. Ain't no way I'm doing it now. There ain't no way. It ain't going to happen, man. I can't even walk it hardly, much less sprint it. But I'll just stick to walking and jogging. I think that's where I'm at now in my life from an athletic standpoint. And I'll be more than fine with that.
There you go. Hey, glad to hear you're getting outside doing something, Will. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I love tennis. Alex, you know how much I love tennis. Played for a long time today, and so feel real good. I love playing tennis, and so it was a good day. But we're not here to talk about me playing tennis or exercising or Alex see if he's going to shave his beard. And
I need to trim. I just realized that when I looked on here, I'm like, man, I'm looking like a woolly booger. I gotta get the clippers out.
Now that I don't have my beard, I'm always gonna make you look bad when I come on. So if you don't trim that beard up, questionable. Well. I'm working on losing some weight because you guys can see all this fatness. The good news about when you get the flu, and that's what I had, you lose a lot of weight. I lost 10 pounds.
So are you using the flu the flu is like the jumper cables of your weight loss journey?
That was
jump started the car with the flu, and you've already lost 10 pounds, and now you're gonna just try to keep it off.
You don't eat for like a week. You know how it is. I didn't eat for 3 days, didn't have an appetite, didn't want to even touch anything, and then I hate it. It's like when you get the flu, you don't want to eat. And then all of a sudden, when you finally get better, you want to eat everything because you haven't eaten in 3 days. So it's like, you're like, let me get the Doritos here. Let me eat this.
You're saying
you
lost 10 pounds, and then yesterday you gained 7. So you decided to go out and play tennis and do a little walk in today to try to maybe try to even it out a little bit. Maybe you lost 5 pounds net the last week.
Absolutely. So anyway, that's it with that. So welcome to Believe in Clemson Football, presented by FanDuel. Got a big show, as you see our headline here, Scuttlebutt about the QB competition. Also got a lot of stuff on fall camp we're going to talk about. We may talk a little bit about the College Sports Act, which Alex was already, basically saying, nana, boo-boo, I told you so, that it wasn't going to get passed before recess, and he was right, and I was wrong. And, I'm only hoping for the best in college sports, Alex. I'm not, I want this to continue where, every time the NCAA makes a decision, the players say, we're going to sue you. Sorry, we're suing you.
Well, if you just turned on the news, once every couple months, you'd know that this bill wasn't going to pass because it was going to Congress, it was going to the Senate. And that means that it's dead on arrival. If a bill goes to the Senate, it's not going to pass.
It's a bipartisan bill, so you had hope that it would get done. And I still think if this wasn't an election year, that it probably would pass when they would get back from recess. But it's going to be hard right now because everybody's going to get back from recess, Alex. And what are they thinking? They're thinking about the quarter elections. They're all worried about getting reelected and stuff like that. They don't care about the bills.
Well, yeah, they're going to be dealing with another potential government shutdown when they get back and work on budget reconciliation. But, I mean, this bill, I will say this. This bill got farther than anybody who keeps up with politics thought it was going to get.
Yep.
Nobody thought it would even make it out of the House or get to the Senate to begin with. The fact that they were actually adding amendments and debating the bill on the floor was a huge step that nobody really thought was possible. I mean, honestly, this bill has kind of turned into like a joke in Washington. It's like they keep trying to pass this college sports bill, but it's not even getting to the floor. This time it got farther than anybody thought it would, so maybe now they'll take it more seriously when they come back from recess.
Maybe so. Let's hope so, because college athletics needs it. And I think a prime example is what's happened in the last 10 days, right? Where the Colorado judge passes makes everybody for the 2022 freshman class eligible for one more year of college. But the problem is she's like, well, I'm not going against the House settlement, and now, but then there's other people suing other things like, former Clemson point guard Dylan Hunter was in that lawsuit in Georgia that just got passed. Well, now they can enter the portal when it opens, Alex. And so, but the portal's not going to open until December. But they're going to sue and say, no, we want it to open now. You can't tell us not to. And so, and that's the ridiculous. Is there's a lawsuit every time something happens, they don't get their way. There's a lawsuit. And it's going to continue, and it's going to continue, and it's going to continue. You're just going to roll. And I don't want to get all into that, but that's why they need this bill passed, so we can have some kind of normalcy in college football. Because, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Since 2012, college football has not been normal. It hasn't. 2012 is when all this started with the realignment stuff and all that went into it, and it's been a mess ever since. Ever since the first realignment back in 2012 started, all that mess started. It's been a mess. I guess you can go maybe 2004 when Miami and them joined the ACC. You kind of can go there maybe a little bit. But really, to me, it was at 2012 when Notre Dame and Louisville and Pittsburgh came to the ACC. And the ACC kind of started it all, to be honest with you. And, here we are 13 years later, 14 years later, still messing with this crap. It's because nobody's satisfied. Guys like me never gets the summers off. We never do like we used to. We got to work all throughout the summer now. It goes straight into football season. We're so stressed out and aggravated. We don't really care about football. It really messes us up. We're so mad. So it takes us like week 3 before we finally are like, okay, finally, we're just finally doing football only, and not having to become a congressman and understand, or become a lawyer and understand bills and stuff like that. I didn't go to law school, Alex. I didn't take political science in college. I didn't want to do any of this mess. I didn't sign up for it, and I'm tired of it. And, I guess I'll get off my soapbox after this.
Yeah, Corey Bryant on YouTube says he saw an article where it pushes the decision to September 14th. Yeah, it's around that date. It's after the summer recess.
Right.
When they are scheduled to have a final vote. Now, anybody who knows how this stuff works knows that there are 1,000 things that could happen in September that could change that, and Congress does have some other things that they've been allegedly trying to work on for the last couple of years. So we'll see what they actually do when September rolls around.
Absolutely. Well, before we go in, we're going to start fall camp. We're going to talk quarterback competition. We're going to talk about who looks good at camp, who's kind of the stuff I'm hearing about other players, what to expect going forward into next week as the Tigers hit full pads on Monday. So before we do all that, though, I want to go ahead and talk about the Clemson Insider. For the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting, go over to the Clemson Insider. Right now, we have everything you want to know about camp. We got photo galleries. We got stories. We got, recruiting stuff. We got whatever you want to know about football and camp. We got it at the Clemson Insider. Any information you need. The best part about all of it, Alex, is 100% free. You ain't got to pay a subscription. You don't got to say, oh, we get 30 days free, and then you got to start paying a subscription. No, you're free 100% with us all the time. So come on over, check us out at the Clemson Insider as we got all the latest information from fall camp and going forward. And then also, obviously, we got some Olympic sports starting up, men's and women's soccer starting up, as well as volleyball. We'll have that covered as well throughout the course of the year. As the season goes on, and then in the basketball season as well. So go to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting. All right, Alex, let's get into it, because today I get word, hey, man, you hearing what I'm hearing at practice? I'm like, well, what are you hearing? I'm hearing Tait Reynolds is kind of showing up and showing out. What have you seen? I'm like, well, we don't get to see all that. So I was like,
the only thing you get to see stretches.
Yeah. I was like, we do get to see, like them doing some kind of drills and, individual drills. And he's looked good, but again, he's in shorts and in helmets, and then, everybody looks good in shorts and helmets. So, but I'm hearing, Alex, that when we're exiting and that he has looked good, but not only that though, but also during the summer, there was talk about how well he has looked and how he's been spinning the football and how he's got a grasp of the offense and really understanding it, and has kind of really taken off. And yeah, so what I was told today was he's making a serious push for the job. And Alex, that leads us to our poll question. And what is our poll question?
Poll question is, do you believe Tait Reynolds will be the starting quarterback versus LSU? To answer this question, all you have to do is type 1 or 2, and it'll show up on the results. All you got to do is type 1 or 2. I'm going to move this off our faces here. I'll put it over the top corner of my head.
Okay.
That's a little bit better than covering up our sponsor there. But type 1 or 2 in the chat. 1 for yes, 2 for no, if you think Tait Reynolds will be the starting quarterback against LSU.
Yeah. So, and Alex, I still going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and vote 1 on that. Okay. Because I still think, Christopher Vizzina will lead the charge to start off the season, because they're going to Baton Rouge. And it's still, I don't care how great Tait Reynolds is playing, and he probably is, but, I don't trust a true freshman going into that stadium. If they were playing, what's the college Dabo likes to say all the time there in
East Teboga Community College?
East Teboga Community College. Yeah, absolutely start Tait Reynolds. Let's go, But his first start of his college career is in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. No, I'm not doing that to him, So to me, I think that's why he gets the nod. But I do think, because of what we're hearing, because he is understanding the offense and he's coming along and he's making a push, Alex, that tells me that he's definitely going to play in the game. That's what it kind of tells me, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I would interpret that too. The other thing you have to think about with Tait Reynolds in particular is that didn't Stu miss like his entire senior year in high school?
Yes.
So you're telling me the first football game this guy's going to play in 2 years is going to be in Baton Rouge in prime time on a Saturday night, and he's going to start
against that defense coordinator?
Yeah, against LSU, this team that has a vaunted defense. I I find it hard to believe that that's going to be his first start at Clemson, or his first start in 2 years is going to be at Tiger Stadium. That's the deciding factor for me. Now, I do agree that it's possible that you could see something like what John on YouTube is saying, maybe by the Miami game. Maybe by that point he's shown some stuff against different competition and taking the job. That's possible.
Yeah.
And I also think that kind of, I wonder if that kind of plays against your theory, Will. That's like, if Tait Reynolds is starting against Miami, that Clemson's season is going horribly. Could it not also just be possible he won the job? I mean, because Clemson was undefeated when Trevor Lawrence took the job.
If what I'm hearing is accurate, yes. If we're hearing they're saying like he's really making a serious push and he's done all these things that we heard that he did during the summer, before camp, and has put himself in this position. Now, listen, Dabo did open up practice not necessarily talking about just the quarterbacks, but he talked about everybody. Like everybody's gonna be getting 50. Like people are gonna get 50% of the reps. And I thought the way he said it, it was more like he's talking about his quarterbacks. Just Dabo doesn't normally say stuff like that. He just normally doesn't say that ahead of fall camp starting because hey, they're not stupid. They know they're getting reports back from Dennis Love. They're getting reports back from the other players. They're hearing what everybody's telling them. So they're like, hey, look, if this kid is really doing this, let's add a little bit onto his plate, right? See how he does. So let's give him some more snaps with the first team offense and see what he does. The more I hear, the more I like what I'm hearing about him. And here's the thing. Everybody's like, well, man, Clemson's really falling where they're going to start a 3-star kid as a true freshman. It's not like Alex just said why he was a 3-star coming out of high school. Because
he didn't play.
He didn't play his senior year. And so nobody saw him play. So he didn't get those other offers that help you get up there to where you become a 4 or 5-star. And so this is a guy who could totally be off the radar, Alex. He could be. I'm not saying now listen, I'm not saying this, okay? I'm just saying hyperbole here, okay? It's just totally just, we're talking. I'm not saying this is like what I'm saying. But what if Clemson just stumbled onto like a Deshaun Watson or something? What if they stumbled on it? And I'm going to tell you, what can get you out of the rut Clemson's in? A Deshaun Watson can. That's what I'm saying. Like, did they stumble on something because he didn't play last year and this kid comes in here and he's like a freaking, unbelievable player and we're all going to be looking like we got mud on our face? We're going to be like, including the fans. Because I tell you, the fans ain't expecting Deshaun Watson to come out there on week 1. But what if it happened? What if this guy just comes out there and he shows us all up? Because that's how you turn around a season with no expectations, is you got a quarterback who plays at that kind of level.
Yeah, that could definitely turn it around. I think we're a far cry away from saying that he's Deshaun Watson. The other thing that you have to keep in mind about Deshaun Watson, Will, is what did people like you think after Deshaun Watson's first couple practices?
Don't go there. What are you doing?
No, I'm just saying Deshaun Watson, when he came on the campus for camp, he wasn't turning heads like Tait Reynolds has been these first few days. It took him a little while longer to settle in.
Well, no, he was turning heads. Just not mine.
I'm sorry, Will. I had to go there.
It's okay. I own it. I was an idiot. I own it. I don't mind owning it. I was wrong on Deshaun there early on, but he won me over quick. I'm gonna tell you, because by the time the Georgia game rolled around, I was quartered in the camp like, he should be starting. And because man, when you just saw Deshaun Watson, as I said to Hale McGranahan as we were watching the warm-ups during the Georgia game, I told Hale, I said, that guy just looks like an All-American.
Yeah.
It just exudes it, has that look to it. And of course,
a lot can change in a few weeks of camp too. There's a moment in camp for a freshman where everything clicks. And for Tait Reynolds, that moment may have even been this summer.
Now, Alex,
after the spring, I don't know.
I hear he's bulked up more. So
he looks like a power 4 quarterback.
He's about probably 220 pounds. which is the size Taj Boyd was. But he's not like Taj in the sense where Taj was his first couple of years, where Taj was what they call him, Fat Boy. Sorry, Taj, but that's what they called you. And because Taj had that little bit of a belly on him, it ain't no belly on Tait Reynolds. I mean, he's like he looks like
a football
bona fide college football quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's got these, huge legs, running back legs. Like the guy could. So, Alex, I don't know. What are you thinking about? What makes Chad Moore's offense so great with Taj Boyd? What made it so great?
It's a mobile quarterback, running quarterback power.
There it is. Quarterback power, baby. Yeah. Third one, you stuff Taj up in there. How many times did we see Taj get a first down on third and one?
I don't know, 1 million.
Exactly. Ask Ohio State about Taj Boyd and the quarterback power, right? So they, I like what we're seeing or hearing about Tait Reynolds as far as from his physical standpoint. By the way, he's spinning the ball. I'm told he looks like Kyle Parker out there spinning the ball the way he is. I've been told it's very obvious who has the stronger arm. It's Tait Reynolds. So now, with that said,
let's also not act like Christopher Vizzina has a noodle arm.
With that said, Christopher Vizzina's having a good camp too so far, and had a great summer. And everybody was talking about how, even though Reynolds is doing this stuff, it hadn't affected Christopher Vizzina. If anything, it's made him better. And so they saying he's having a good summer, having a good camp so far. He looks good out there. It's not like he looks like chopped liver, So this is a good problem, maybe. Clemson has a good problem on their hands. And who's doesn't have a good problem? LSU, because they don't know what Clemson's going to do then. And maybe Clemson's a little kind of got that. If I'm Dabo, I don't name a quarterback. Dabo, don't name a quarterback. Make that coordinator for LSU have to go get high school film from Tait Reynolds' junior year to see what they're going to be doing, what Tait Reynolds can and can't do. Yeah. Make that coordinator have to spend half of his preparation getting ready for Tait Reynolds. And then if you want to play Vizzina the whole game, that's great, but you made him have to spend 50% of his time getting ready for Tait Reynolds. That's what I'm saying. Dabo, do not name a starting quarterback until kickoff.
I don't know if he will, honestly. I really don't know if he will throw up a depth chart before that first game. I threw up another poll here, too.
Okay.
Because we were at 100% no, Tait Reynolds is not going to start against LSU after 8 or 9 votes. The new poll question, do you think Tait Reynolds will start for Clemson this season? Is the new poll question that I throw up. 1 for yes, 2 for no. I think that might be a little bit more of a debate. I know on Clemson Twitter, there's a lot of Tait Reynolds truthers out there, just hoping that he could be
that's the typical fans, and you get that, you understand that. I mean, we all, Steeler fans are I'm hearing Drew Aller, he's gonna, they're all oh, he's gonna take over Aaron Rodgers. I'm you're an idiot. You think Mike McCarthy is gonna take the second-year quarterback over,
Yeah.
Over
one thing I will say that I went through and listened to several of the player interviews today of the offensive guys, kind of trying to read the tea leaves a little bit, what they're saying about Tait and Vizzina, and everybody's kind of saying the same thing, that I don't know who the ball is coming from. I'm just trying to catch the ball, I think is what Tristan Smith said. But what everybody's saying is that Vizzina's definitely put in the work to be kind of the locker room leader and the QB leader of the team. He's gained the respect of the locker. Tristan Smith mentioned he took the whole team out to Handles to get ice cream this summer, and just trying to organize hangouts. You saw Clemson posted the thing where he took everybody to play paintball back in the spring. So it does seem like he's definitely taking those intangible steps. It's a lot harder for a freshman to come in and do something like that. But we'll see how things go over camp. I mean, these guys want to win, so they're gonna. But it seems like they have respect for both guys, which is a good thing in a quarterback competition. It's not like dividing the locker room or anything like that.
Well, and one thing that happened last year with this team was there was no leadership. I'm just going to say it. There was no leadership on this team last year for Clemson, and there's reasons for that. I think part of it was the money situation. I think there was jealousy on the team, And then I think there was also apathy on the team as well with some of the players. So, I think after the LSU game, they lost. They were like trying to get together and try to regroup and go out win. But when they lost that Georgia Tech game and they knew that was probably it, you saw the apathy set in on that team for a couple of weeks. And that's when they got to 3-5. And I will say this, they found a way. Dabo got them awake enough to where they won 4 straight to end the year. And they probably played as a team their best, I thought, was that Florida State game. And then even though they didn't play well, beating Louisville down in Louisville was a big team win. And then beating South Carolina at the end of the year. That little stretch, that's probably the best they played the entire season. But other than that, they just, they
were flat in every game.
They were flat in most every game.
Past LSU, they were flat in every game until that.
Yeah, and that's a question I'm gonna ask Dabo. Like, when we get closer to that LSU game, like last year, it seemed like the team lost. They lost more than once against LSU. They put so much into that LSU game that it almost cost them the Troy game, and it did cost them the Georgia Tech game.
Yep.
Like, how does he try to avoid that this year? If not saying they're going to go lose or anything, but how do you try to avoid that where you don't put so much into that first game and that if you don't get the result you want, it's hard to get over?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question because, that is what defined the team last year. And you've seen it at Clemson before. Usually it's a Georgia game that defines a Clemson season early in the year. And you could go into that in grave detail. But those big games early in the season, they do possess that temptation where you set your sights on it for 9 months. You get there, it doesn't go your way, that it sinks your season. So that's definitely something that I'm sure the coaching staff is thinking about. Whether they want to say something publicly about that or they're talking to the team about it or not might be a different thing.
Right.
But I'm sure it's something that the coaching staff has talked about is, how do we get our team to be fully focused on one game at a time, but not sink the season because we put all of our eggs in one basket in Baton Rouge.
Nah, very good points, man. And so, Alex, get a couple more comments up here before we kind of get more into more fall camp and, especially if you got quarterback questions or things of that nature.
Yeah, Tiger Paw GT's asking, is Vizzina still throwing with the nose of the ball pointed up?
No, looks good. What we saw this week, and again, it's very brief what we got to see, but he looked good. And so, I can't say that that's something that was noted or pointed out. But again, a guy throws different in practice than he does in a game, most of the time. So I won't say most of the time, but sometimes.
A lot of the times. When you have guys running at you that can actually tackle you, it does make a difference.
It does make a difference. Exactly. So I think it's fair to say, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, some of the time it changes in a game. And so but that's something we haven't really noticed. No. What else we got?
Let's see. Bradley Williams on YouTube, a good point on this. Will Tait Reynolds be the starter? Tait will have to show it on the field to take it from CV. I think there's no question about that. That's what Trevor did to take the job in that Kelly situation. Is he made it undeniable on the field. But I do think referencing like a Cole Stout, Deshaun Watson situation with Chad Morris as the offensive coordinator is maybe a little bit better of a comp.
I agree. This is not a Kelly Bryant. This is not
because Trevor Lawrence, like when he was signed, everybody knew he was going to be Clemson's starting quarterback. As
not just that. Well, I think everybody knew Deshaun was too, but the difference was Kelly Bryant was an ACC championship quarterback who was the MVP of the ACC championship game the year before. So he was the incumbent, and like. But this is take Trevor Lawrence being the phenom that he was to take the job from him. Where Kelly, we were all expecting Deshaun to take it from Cole.
Yeah, but the other thing that kind of goes to that is Kelly Bryant wasn't just in the pole position of the job when camp started. He was the starter.
He was the starter,
and he had earned the right to be the starter. Whereas Cole Stout was like Vizzina. He's in the pole position. He'd been in the program. He paid his dues. He was respected in the locker room. And it had to, there was a little bit more that had to happen for the job to shift. kind of like this. But this is more like a true quarterback competition is what it feels like. Like a true open quarterback competition that Clemson hadn't had one of these in a long time.
This is the most open competition they've had, I think, since Kyle Parker and Willie Corn.
Yep.
I think this is the most they've had.
That's more what I was thinking, that it's been like that long since Clemson's had a true quarterback competition where, somebody's in the pole position, but nobody's a starter. And Dabo made that very clear.
And Kyle Parker won it and became the starter. And but this is that. So you're going back to Dabo's rookie year as the head coach. That's what you're going to here, And so, so that's how long it's been since Clemson's had this kind of quarterback competition. And that's why Clemson's such an intriguing team nationally, because people don't know really what to expect from Clemson. I hear some people say, oh, they're going to suck and Dabo's going to get fired. And then on the other side, I hear, I don't know, they're probably top 3 in the ACC. People don't know where to put them because the quarterback situation is so up in the air. But when you look at their skill players, only Miami tops Clemson when it comes to skill players. Only Miami. Yeah. And that's only because they got Malachi Toney. If they didn't have him, Clemson would probably get the advantage.
Well, and the running back room, I think, is another advantage that Miami has. I mean, they are returning 4 running backs.
They are
all dogs.
No, they are. I agree. And they returned the best one in Fletcher as well.
Yeah, but in terms of receiving room, Clemson's receiving room matches up with Miami, with the exception of they don't have Malachi Toney.
Exactly. And then and you look at Clemson's tight ends, and we'll talk about that in a second, by the way, because we're talking about Bentecure here in a minute. But the Clemson's tight ends, I think Clemson's tight ends are as good as anybody in the ACC. Questions on the offensive line, no doubt. Clemson's secondary, the things they've made, I think I put Clemson's secondary up with anybody in the conference. So there's talent on the field. Clemson's got the talent, I think, to, if things go right at that quarterback position in the offensive line, that's the 2 main question marks. Because I think Gideon Davison, if the offensive line does blocks, I think Gideon Davison's going to have a fine season.
And me and you have already talked about on our last show that, Clemson does have a deep running back room, lest you forget that 2 guys who helped lead the Tigers to an ACC championship 2 years ago are back.
Jarvis Green and Jay Hayes. Yeah. Even though I heard Jay Hayes looked like he was struggling a little bit in practice the other day. So interesting to kind of maybe watch that a little bit. What we got here, Alex?
We got a question from Data Racer, or a comment from Data Racer on YouTube. Quarterback's the big topic of conversation right now, rightly so, but I don't hear anyone talking about linebacker. The linebacker room are all backups except for Brown. It's concerning, in my opinion. Farrelly really screwed Dabo over.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman, CJ Cup Taylor, is that right?
Cooper Taylor?
Cooper Taylor, there we go. Yep. Cooper Taylor is, from what I understand, was wearing a yellow jersey the other day in practice, and that's not good. That means doesn't mean he's out for the year or anything like that, but it means he's not practicing. So we'll see. Maybe he upgraded to a green jersey when they go to full pads tomorrow. We'll see. But I think that's something to keep in mind, because here's a guy they thought could get in that rotation and help them this year. And there they got the freshman from Cincinnati.
I feel like
he's going to play because they got to play him.
Yeah.
I know I heard something where he said basically he was just hoping he could play special teams. I'm like, they're hoping that dude can play. Not just special teams, because they need bodies at linebacker. And so right now, yes, linebacker is a major concern opposite Sammy Brown, because 1 or 2 injuries and you're in trouble at linebacker. You're in serious trouble. You're talking about walk-ons playing at linebacker, okay? I mean, that's where they're at linebacker, and I don't know why it's got this way. I can't explain it to you. Obviously, it didn't help Luke Farrelly, and then you lost a couple other guys to the transfer portal, and they just weren't able to replace them. And so here they are in this situation where they got a lot of young players behind Sammy Brown, and then Kobe McLeod and Alexander, obviously, but he's not a 4-2 back. He's not a 4-2 linebacker.
No,
he's not. He's a guy that needs to play middle linebacker. He needs to play middle linebacker, and but there really is no middle linebacker in this defense. It's more of a both. You got two weak side backers that play, and he's not a weak side backer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. But you did hear Dabo try to throw it in the spin cycle on day one of camp, talking about linebacker. He's like, man, everybody's talking about we ain't got good linebackers. Man, we got Cooper Taylor. We got these freshmen. It's like we got another wood ass. I'm like, I don't know, Dabo. I don't know if that's what people want to hear because, like you're saying, the concern is the depth, and starting depth.
The experience depth.
Yeah,
I mean, they
starting
just
depth. Like you don't have a guy who can start as a number two. You don't.
Yeah, you don't
right now. Now maybe you at the end of camp, you feel like you do, and somebody surprises you. But at this point in time, we've seen no evidence that there's a number two that would be starting that you'd be like, all right, we feel good. Sammy Brown's down and this guy's waiting in the wings. That guy doesn't exist.
I don't know if there's a Keith Adams that's just going to come out of nowhere and surprise you. At linebacker. I don't know if there's any. Maybe Kobe McLeod is that guy. Maybe he becomes that guy. But everything I hear with Kobe McLeod is like, he's a guy that's serviceable, does his job well, but there's certain things you really can't ask him to do because he's just not to that level as an athlete like Sammy Brown is. So, that's why I said if you're Tom Allen, we talked about this last time, you got to get creative on defense. You got to get creative. I don't want to see a front four, Alex. I want to see an odd front. I want to see a 3-5, 3. I don't care what you see. I want to see 3 down linemen, and I want to see what are you doing with Will Helt. Oh my gosh, what's he doing? He's standing up. Holy crap! Why is he standing up? Is he dropping back in coverage? What's he doing? What are you doing with Sammy Brown? You got him playing over the nose. What are we doing? I want to see craziness happening at the Clemson line of scrimmage when this season starts. Not sitting back in a 4-2-5.
Yeah. Tiger Paw GT says Mickey Plyler said Tait was doing his weight training with the linebackers this summer. Maybe Tait Reynolds is going to be your backup linebacker. I don't think that's what he was getting at. He said that much earlier. But there are some other guys that people are asking if they're healthy, like a Fletcher Cothran or Logan Anderson. Do we know if those guys are healthy?
Well, yeah, they are, but guys, if Fletcher Cothran and Logan Anderson are your dudes, then you're probably not things. I'm telling you, then our boy Jerome Carter's leading the team in tackles.
Yeah,
it's not good if that's not that those guys can't come in if they're just coming in to give breathers. Obviously, they'll be good, right? But and Dabo did say, what was the one, Anderson?
Logan Anderson.
Dabo did say Logan Anderson's had a good summer and that he looks good, looks the best shape he's been in, and they really think he's ready to take the next step. And I hope that's the case. Maybe he is the Keith Adams. Maybe it is Logan Anderson. But right now, I think if you're like banking on that, then that means Jerome Carter's leading you in tackles, and you don't want your safety leading you in tackles. So you want those guys to just be backups. You hope, to me, because he is more experienced, he is more of a veteran player, he's been around the bush a little bit, you want more Kobe McLeod to be, a guy that comes in and does his job and does it well. And that allows Sammy Brown to be Sammy Brown. That's what you want, and you want those two guys to stay healthy. I'm talking Ben Boulware in 2016 playing 78 snaps a game. That's what you're going to need, unfortunately, at linebacker right now.
Yeah, have you heard any intel to suggest that Clemson's looking at odd fronts as a solution?
No, I don't know what they're showing right now. If they're not really going to show any of that,
they wouldn't show much right now.
No, because they're just in skelly. Right, they're going to go to full pads tomorrow. You'll start seeing a little bit more tomorrow and during this week here when they're in full pads. Maybe what they do. So maybe I will get a little more intel. Then.
You got to feel like they have at least a package or two that'll be in effect when you play teams that can run the football. When you're playing at LSU or you're playing Miami,
you can't go 4-2-5 against Miami and think you're going to stop.
If you go 4-2-5 against Miami, all those dudes are going to just bully you.
Well,
Like
what
Fletcher
happened?
and the whole gang are just going to bully
What
him.
happened when Wes Goodwin did that? When he just stayed in the 4-2-5, what did Miami do the whole game?
Just
Just
ran
ran right
football.
up the gut, right
Yeah.
up the gut. That was the game. The infamous K. Klubnik to the left game there at the goal line.
I think there's still a lot of people who were heavily involved in play calling that question what that play was. So I'll say that now that we're a couple years removed from that. I'll say that people who are heavily involved in the play calling still don't know what play Kate Klubnik was running there.
I have never seen Dabo Swinney that mad going into a press conference.
Yeah.
He was so mad. He had to literally calm himself down.
Yeah.
He was so mad. And I think he wanted to say what he couldn't say. And he didn't.
The quote that I heard from somebody who was involved in the program was, I don't know what play he was running. And that's the toned down version of what I heard on that.
Said, yes. Oh, boy.
It's a data racer. A good point. He probably didn't know what play he was running. I think that's probably accurate based off what we heard on that one. But
oh man,
but that is a good example.
It wasn't the dive. I'll tell you that.
That is a good example. Will, you're talking about a Miami running back room that's much better than that now.
Yeah.
There are still some question marks about Miami. I was looking at Miami this week, and there's still some things that we don't know.
They got some question marks. I'm not saying they're perfect. And they're not, but I still think
they're the most talented skill team in the nation. But in both trenches, they are a ton of question marks.
They are. They
lost 4 offensive linemen. They lost their top 2 defensive ends. They lost their best 2 linebackers. And they're not deep between the tackles coming in either. But
they're not.
And all their portal additions are on the outside.
Right. No, I agree. I'm with you 100%.
But when you got a quarterback like Mensa that can get it out fast, that limits a little bit of that on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, I think there's still a lot of questions about Miami. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there's not questions. I think everybody in the ACC has question marks. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing too. We don't want to get too much into breaking down the ACC right now, but this is just on the front of my mind. Is everybody's talking about Louisville like they're going to be, they could play for an ACC title, and I get it based off their schedule and some of the pieces around, but the pride of Pierce, South Dakota, Lincoln Keenholz, as a starter for the first time is leading your offense, and that's what you're putting all your faith in.
Look at you bringing in the South Dakota knowledge.
I mean, yeah, he won 4 state championships at Pierre, but I don't know if that makes you ACC championship.
For y'all don't know, Alex covered South Dakota athletics like 3 years, so he's very knowledgeable with South Dakota high school football. So.
Back to Clemson, though. Got a good one from Lee Harden Comedy on YouTube. He said he's pretty excited to see this defensive tackle from JUCO whose name he can't pronounce.
Yeah, Lee, appreciate you bringing this up. So, Burgerio, right? I think that's right. I think that's right. Dude, I am hearing wonderful things. Barbaria, that's it, Barbaria. I'm hearing wonderful things about him.
Burgeria. I need to look at the pronunciation guy.
JP told me Barbaria, so I'm gonna go with JP. He did all the recruiting. I don't know. We could all be wrong, but I've heard now from different people. JP watched him in practice the other day, and he's like, man, this guy is good, and he's a. But then other people have told me not around the program, and also told JP as well. I mean, around the program, but not in the media, that this guy's a difference maker. And they said this name and comparing him because of his size, 6'2", 305, Grady Jarrett.
And if somebody's throwing that name out of Dabo Swinney's program, that means they're thinking pretty dang highly of that guy.
Yes. Comparing him to Grady Jarrett. And I said that. Remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking about this. If he comes in and this guy is like Grady Jarrett, that's all they need him to be.
Yeah.
They don't need him to be Dexter Lawrence. They need him to be Grady Jarrett or Tyler Davis. If they got a Grady Jarrett or Tyler Davis, then they're going to be in good shape. I also heard, at defensive end, you got your boy Will Helt, you got your boy Jaheim Lawson, the third guy coming in, what I'm hearing, Darian Mayo.
Oh.
And I've been told people around the country have no idea who Darian Mayo is, but by the end of this year, they're going to know who he is.
How about that?
So,
But Will, all of this is going to, I mean, even what you're saying right now is going to the point that they should run odd fronts on defense.
Exactly. Remember, Alex, we sat here, we gave a couple weeks ago, how many different defensive fronts did we give out that you could do with the personnel you have? That's what I'm saying. Tom Allen's a smart guy. He's going to forget more football than I'm ever going to know. So there's no way Tom Allen comes out in that LSU game in a 4-2. There's no way. There's no way. That might be his base defense, and that's what they tell the media their base defense is. But there's no way with that personnel, they're being a 4-2. They're not. Because you can, with Darian Mayo and Jaheim Lawson, you can make Jaheim Lawson a hands-down defensive end in a 3-4. Hands on the ground. You could move if this kid Barberea is doing his thing, right? Yeah. If he's really this good, then you can put him down over the
Barberea.
Barberea.
I looked it up on the pronunciation guide.
Thank you, Brian Hennessy. Barberea. Like Barberea, like you put him down over the nose, you got yourself a true nose guard, right? So
now you've got like a Marcus Strong that can play a true nose and has played a true nose.
He also can play on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, and you put beside him, I don't know, this guy named Will Helt, who you could treat like a TJ Watt and kind of do different things with him. You got this other guy over here, Alexander, who basically is like a defensive end. And so he can play that strong side linebacker, defensive end position, outside backer position. It makes sense. Yeah. And then you know what you tell Sammy Brown to do? See ball, get ball. That's what you tell Sammy Brown to do. You don't have to worry about drop. Look, Sammy Brown should not be dropping back in coverage. He should be going to go kill quarterback. Send him like a missile. Am I right?
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, he can play some coverage to disguise looks, but I mean, I watched
Sammy Brown. Sammy Brown as much as you can.
In my quest of old games in Clemson history, and this one's not that old. I watched that 2013 Georgia game.
Yeah.
Dude, the looks that BV was throwing out with that group that he had on defense in 2013 just had Aaron Murray's head spinning.
And that wasn't even a good defense in 2013.
And that's why he just threw out a different looks to kind of mask the flaws of the defense. Because, if you know where anybody's playing, how are you going to pick them apart?
Yeah.
I think Clemson's got to do a little bit of that in that LSU game if they want to have a chance to be in the game in the fourth quarter. Clemson's got to disguise looks and
LSU's got a quarterback
and run odd fronts. Yeah, he's a head case. He missed half the season last year. He's dealing with his own things. I think if you could throw some different looks at him, you might get a few groans going in Tiger Stadium.
And Lane Kiffin has been known to be impatient and gets impatient and does stuff because things aren't going right on offense. You get him impatient. I like go to Kirby Smart and I say, hey Kirby, what do you do to aggravate him? Because you know him, you've coached with him, you coached against him. What do you do to aggravate Lane Kiffin? That's what I would do. If I was Clemson, that's what I'd do. I'd be calling Kirby and say, hey, Kirby, help me out here. What do you do to aggravate this guy?
Or you call Nick Saban. He'd probably give you some answers on that front, too.
Well, Nick Saban says I just yell at him. So maybe Dabo could go over there and yell at him.
Yeah. I don't know if that worked for Dabo to yell at Lane Kiffin, but
yeah, So anyway, but so yeah, I like what we're hearing. So on some of the defensive people. Now I was told Wesley, the defensive end, the transfer, man, he's little, dude.
That's what Robert Nichols gets in and asks, could CJ Wesley move to linebacker?
That makes sense to me, but he's still a defensive end. I would say you play him in that James Harrison kind of role, if you will, in an odd defense. He's an outside backer. He has to be an outside backer. He can't be an inside backer. He can't play inside. He's not trained enough. He's always been go get the quarterback and you want a guy like that. So you put him out maybe out on the edge because, he's a guy that's got a lot of speed. I think that's what you do with him because I really don't know how they're going to use him, Alex. because he can only do one thing. That's go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not big enough to be a guy where they can worry about him stopping the run. That's not going to be his forte. He's too small at this level.
Ursa Major 2000 on YouTube says there's a 0% chance Tom Allen will experiment with a 3-man front versus LSU.
Well, it don't have to be a 3-man front. It can be a 5-man front. Just what my point being is.
Will came up with like 8 options.
Yeah, it doesn't have to do a 3-5. He can play play an Oklahoma kind of defense, if he wants to. I'm just saying he can't go out there in a 4-2-5, or they're gonna get their butts waxed because their linebackers are just not strong enough. They're strong. They're okay. They're still soft in the middle, but I'm not worried about LSU going and running the ball. That's not what Doobie Flacci does. Okay. Yeah. Lane Kiffin is not like, oh, I want to go run the ball 70 times. No.
Right.
What he wants to do is score quickly and put 50 to 60 points on you. That's what he wants to do. Well, how do you do that? You do it big plays in a passing game mostly is what he likes to do. Get mismatches and things of that nature. That's what Lane Kiffin wants to do. So I'm not worried about LSU pounding the rock against Clemson.
Yeah.
Necessarily. So, but the linebackers will still be exposed in that defense because you got two guys that you got one guy who's serviceable, but he's not great. And you got one guy who really needs to just go get the quarterback, but you're going to drop him back in coverage more times or not because of the style Lane Kiffin plays. And that's not what you want to do with Sammy Brown, in my opinion.
Well, even in like screen game, that's going to hurt you against LSU. Yeah, they use the screen as an extension of the run.
Exactly.
So they might not run it 70 times, but they might throw 10 screens
to make up for the 20 runs they don't do.
Yeah, to make up for those 20 runs. So that's the other thing about 4-2-5 that, I mean, you're just giving up 5 yards.
It's a bend but don't break defense. It's a bend but don't break defense. Is what it is, and that's fine. It
might be okay
against LSU.
If Sam Leavitt gets in his head in the red zone and Lane Kiffin gets too deep in his clipboard in the red zone,
right?
Then you might be okay. But more for like a team like Miami that's gonna run the football. That's just. I mean, it's just not good for the long haul.
I'm just saying, be creative. Like that's what
be a little unpredictable, I think.
Like remember when Clemson in 2019, people forget they went 14-0, and until the playoffs, Clemson's defense murdered everybody. They didn't give up. I think the most yards they gave up in one game was like 308 yards during the regular season, right? I mean, literally, that nobody can move the football on Clemson that 2019 season. All right. But what Brent did was he masked a lot of things. They weren't very good up front at all. They had Tyler Davis, and that was about it. I mean, they just weren't good up front. And so he played a lot of odd defense. He used basically Simmons in every way that you can think of using Simmons. And he changed things up in his coverages and his looks. People didn't know what the linebackers were doing or who the Mike was. And it confused quarterbacks the whole season. Now, when he got into the playoffs and he started playing Justin Fields and Joe Burrow, those guys were good enough and those offensive teams were good enough to where they would expose Clemson's defense. And they did.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't stop neither one of those teams, right? So, but Brent Venables, through the course of the season, that's how good he was. He went a whole season where he made Clemson the number one defense in the country for 12 games when they really had no business even being the top defense in the ACC.
Yeah.
That's what Tom Allen's got to do. He's got to figure something out like that.
Yeah, Tiger Paul GT asked if Allen used odd fronts at IU or Penn State. I think he did in certain situations. Like he used it
at
situationally.
Penn State he did. In situations at Penn State he would.
He used it on like passing downs and red zone.
And how he used that linebacker he had. Remember he had that real talented linebacker?
Yeah.
And how he used him in different ways. He did do some odd. And that's why I got faith that he will do it.
And he doesn't have – neither me or Will are saying that he's going to change Clemson's base defense to a 3-4.
The base defense is going to be a 4-2-5. It's going to stay that way. But Tom Allen's too good of a coach not to adjust to his personnel.
Yeah.
And I think he'll adjust to his personnel when he needs to, the way Brent Venables did. I mean, he's a great defensive coach. He really is. And he's got a great mind. And so I think he'll do that. And I would be surprised if he doesn't, is my whole point. Like, and that's why I don't think, like, you get some of these, listen, guys, you get some of these sports writers in the world, especially national guys, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. They don't. They think Clemson's going to come out and stay in a 4-2-5 all the time. I'm like, you're an idiot if you think that. I mean, they're not going to do that. Coaches do different things all the time. And look, nothing against them. I mean, they're covering 100 teams.
Yeah, they're not watching every down.
Yeah, they're not watching every down or covering just one team like I'm doing. So they don't know as much. So that's why they that's why when you hear you hear you're like, and you shake your head, I'm like, well, that's not what I've been reading and stuff, because they don't know what they're talking about, because they're covering Indiana and Penn State and Miami, and they're covering Syracuse, and they're covering Texas, and they're doing everybody and trying to give you a whole bunch of, it's like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. That's kind of what it is. That's why you listen to your beat writers more, because we're talking to the players and coaches on a daily basis. We're listening to what they're saying. And so that's why we can give you more information than what the national guys can, because they don't do that. Now, I'm not saying some of the national guys aren't good, because they are. Like, there's a lot that are really good, but there's some that just really have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just talking out their butt sometimes. It's just really what they're doing.
Well, how much last year did you see Clemson line up in an odd alignment or an odd front?
I mean, I have to go.
In a situation. Can you think of anything offhand? Any situation offhand where Clemson lined up in a?
Yeah, there was a couple times.
Just ones that stand out to you.
The Louisville game, they did some things that really confused him in that game. They gave some different looks. South Carolina, they gave a lot of different looks against South Carolina and really made him stay in that pocket. They really did, and made him try to be a pro quarterback, and they proved he wasn't. I mean, there's a reason why what's-his-name came back to college, and it's that Clemson game.
Yeah.
And Clemson wasn't that good, and they really made him look bad. They made Sellers look bad in that game. I mean, he could not throw the ball in coverage at all in that game. And so there are some things they did during the course of the year, a couple games. There's a couple examples that just off the top of my head. And they did a really good job with how they used Will Helt in that game. And Helt really, really was a problem for him.
Yeah. No, but the reason I asked that is to kind of go to that point where all these national writers are acting like Clemson only runs a 4-2-5 all the time, and they did run odd fronts last year.
They did. They did run some odd
and
fronts.
It wouldn't be totally shocking for somebody that's been around the program to see them come out and run 40% of their defensive sets in an odd front in a game, for one game or for two games.
They give an Okie look.
That's my point.
I mean, I know he gave a couple Okie look several times last year.
Yeah.
And he'll probably do that against LSU. He's going to give some crazy looks to that quarterback because he has to.
Yeah.
That guy's known for getting in his own head. And so you got to do things to confuse him. And you get an interception early in the game, and you start getting in his head, then he starts doubting himself what he's seeing.
Yeah.
That's what LSU did to Cade Klubnik last year.
Yeah. Ursa Major 2000 gets in again. I think you nullify Helton Lawson if you go odd, even on 3rd and long.
I don't think you guys understand how good Jaheim Lawson is.
Yeah.
He can put his hand in the dirt. And basically, if you want him to play the 3 technique, he can do it.
Yeah.
Think about the games
where
Lawson
he just
wins
most praised player at Dabo's first press conference in fall camp, by the way.
Yes, he did.
He got like a 10-minute 10-minute
If you watch him drill, if you go back and watch some of the games last year with Jaheim, how he's taking the tackle and he's up in his shoulder pads and he's got him pushing backwards into the pocket almost immediately. That's all you need. That's what you need from him. A guy like that. He's capable of taking on a guard or a tackle and having no issues with them one-on-one. What you can do with Will Helt, they're going to do some different things with Will because they need to show, Will Helt wants to show the NFL teams what he can do. Because, guys, guess what Will Helt's playing in the NFL? He's playing in a 3-4. Yeah. He is, I'm telling you, because you look at his skill set, he's a 3-4 outside backer.
Yeah.
He's a 3-4 outside backer.
Yeah, he's more of a true edge than he is a defensive end.
Yes, he is. Absolutely, he is. And he can do a lot of different things, and you can just give looks with Will Helt. He's so talented. I can't explain this to you guys how talented Will Helt is. He's so talented. Like, you can do a lot of different things with him that will just mess the quarterback's brain up. Whether you got him sitting down and he's rushing the quarterback and he's down in a stance, or you stand him up and you let him play off the line a little bit, or, hey, let's even get more fun with it, Alex. Let's move him over the nose guard. Let's do that and just kind of rush him up the middle. Just see what happens. You're not going to do it. You're going to stun him, of course. You're not, but you're going to show that look. Yeah. And that's all you got to show the quarterback. You got a 6'7" defensive end standing over the nose. Yeah. What are you doing if you're the quarterback?
Yep.
You're changing and saying hot route. I just wanted to do that because of,
Fair enough. I want to throw this up here to show that we do occasionally get fans from other schools on here. Louisville fan jumping in on the chat. Go Louisville Cardinals, says good luck this season. ACC looks pretty good. Appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah, man.
Sorry for throwing doubt on the pride of Pierce, South Dakota earlier in the show.
Hey,
I do think Lincoln Kienholz is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's not.
Louisville. If you go back our show previously, I picked Louisville in the ACC. I picked them third, and I said that SMU Louisville winner is going to go to the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
So I have them right now losing to SMU in that game, but I think they're a 10-2 team and one loss in the ACC. And what's that, 8-1 in the ACC? That's what I predicted, 10-2, 8-1, right there in the mix to go to the ACC championship game.
I do think Lincoln Kienholz is a much better fit in that system at Louisville with Jeff Brom, a system that takes pressure off the quarterback than he was at Ohio State.
I like Jeff Brom with quarterbacks.
He's a quarterback whisperer.
He does.
Dude, if you can win at Purdue,
makes bad quarterbacks look good. I don't know how he does it, but he makes them look good.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck. It made that guy look like a potential Heisman candidate.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a quarterback whisperer, dude. And he can take any quarterback. I guarantee you, if he had DJ Uiagalelei, he might have won the national championship.
Yep.
I mean, because he could take a quarterback and he works with their mechanics. He fixes whatever issues they have. He focuses on what they do best, and they do it, and they do well. I mean, he's just good. He is. And I know they have those games where they lose somebody they're not supposed to every year. And I know that's what downs Louisville fans. And I get it. That is probably the frustrating part. But that's what happens when you're building a program.
Yeah.
And I think, if you just keep letting him do what he's been doing, and they have at Louisville, I think he's one of the best coaches in the conference, and they're going to always be in the mix as long as Jeff Brom's there, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Robert Nichols gets in. Good question on the offensive side. What's your prediction on who the starters will be on the right side of the offensive line?
Man, thank you there. Who was that asked me that? Robert
Nichols. Robert's got in with a couple good leading us where we want to go.
Well, Robert, I got some information just before we got on the podcast today about that. So right now, I could tell you Sadler was playing right tackle the other day a lot. And at right guard was what's his name? My handwriting is not very good. Catus, is that it? Katus, I believe, at right guard, the redshirt freshman there, Alex.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I'll find you a pronunciation on the thing.
Yeah, please give me the right proper pronunciation. But anyway, that's what we're seeing on the right side of the line right now. So I still think that right side is open. Dabo mentioned this. Again, I always tell people, listen to what Dabo doesn't say.
Yep.
So Dabo goes in there and he says, yeah, man, when you got Colin Sadler, it's like, you can just kind of move him inside or move him there wherever we kind of need it, because that's what we do. Well, Dabo just told you right there what he's thinking. So he's like, all right, let's see what we got at this right guard position. If this kid is really what we think he can be, then we can move Sadler outside and play right tackle. If he's not, we move that kid in to play right guard. We move Sadler in to play right guard, and we move the other guy out there to play the tackle position. So I always tell people, when you listen to Dabo, you listen to what he's not saying to you, more so than what he is saying. And so I think that's kind of where they're at right now with that right side. But it looks like
Tucker Caddis.
That's it.
The sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio.
AATTUS, right?
Yep, 6'5", 310.
6'5", 310. He looks like, I said redshirt. He's not a redshirt anymore. He's sophomores because there is no redshirts anymore. These guys are just now going to be freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then graduate senior, or 5
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Brian told me 5th year senior. That's what to be called. They talked about that. They're going to be called 5th year. No, they got rid of the 1, 2, 3, 5 because the NCAA came out with how they wanted to handle that.
I told you they were going to get rid of that. That's like the dumbest thing.
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, so it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, then 5th year senior. That's what they're going to call it.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think you continue to watch that. It's early. I mean, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can play over on that right side too.
Yeah, Sadler is the key. How he lines up tells you what's going on.
Because Sadler could be at right guard. He could be at right tackle. He could be at left guard or
left guard. Yeah. But right now at left guard, it seems like it's Elijah Thurman at left guard. Yeah. Obviously,
Jacobs
is at left tackle, and then at center is Harris Sewell.
Yeah,
that's kind of where we're at. So it's mainly the main question mark is that right side.
What do you hear about Easton Ware?
Easton Ware, that again, that's what's so interesting about Sadler playing right tackle.
Yeah,
that tells me Ware's maybe not where they want him to be at this moment. But again, it's early. We hadn't started full pads yet.
I mean, there's a lot of guys too. Like, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of question marks on that right side because. Obviously, Sadler's going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
But then you could have like a Dietrich Pennington, or you could have a Easton Ware, or you could have
I think they want Sadler is your fourth starter. Sadler's your fourth starter. It's going to come to does the guy in the inside show that he's consistent enough to be a starter, or is it the guy on the outside consistent enough to be a starter? That's where, and then they're just going to pencil in Sadler wherever.
Well, and the Chad Morris's scheme takes a little bit of pressure off offensive line.
Well, yes, absolutely. So, but of course, that right side position is pretty important.
Very important.
Yes. So you need to find somebody who can protect your quarterback's blind side on there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah, it's weird to talk about right tackle being your quarterback's blind side, but here we are.
Here we are. Anyway, so let's see. Talking about some other. Let's see. By the way, here's something. So you guys, Dennis Love, man. I mean, D Love is, man. Players love this guy. They love him. I mean, I've probably heard over 20 to 25 players already have said they're in the best shape of their lives. I mean,
that's good to hear.
and they love D Love. They love not. I haven't heard one player say something negative about Dennis Love. Not one. So that's going well, I think. And I think you are going to see a little bit of a difference with Clemson this year. Not that, again, I don't blame Joey Batson for last year or anything like that. I don't want people to get the wrong idea because I don't. But, something happened last year, but I don't think it was Joey Batson as much as the leadership.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Dennis has reached the leadership a little better. And with this group, and I think we've seen that with them. And it's just they just seem like every guy's talking about the best shape of their lives.
Yeah. I just like that D Love's going old school, man. He's got them running the dike. I mean,
yeah.
It's like shoot. My dad and them used to do that on the track team at Clemson. Man, every Clemson athletic program for 100 years was running that dike.
And Dennis,
or 60 years, however long the lake was there.
Look, and there was no exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
It was. Hey guys, you're gonna run the dike. You got no choice. If you want to play football for Clemson, you're running that dike. And he's hard, man. He's their friend. And he loves on them. Don't get me wrong, but man, when it's time to work, he's working them. So it's good to hear a lot of good positive stuff there. defensive tackles. We talked a little bit earlier about the JUCO guy that came in. Hearing some good stuff. Chant Thompson. So the other day they lined up Chant Thompson and Marcus Strong kind of lined up as the two inside tackles. But then in the rotations, they kind of changed things up a little bit. You had Burley and Adams as well. And then there would be Strong and Adams. And then so changing things up a little bit there with it. But those four guys seem to be your first string guys. Yeah. And then they're using the how do you say it? Berberia is the next guy up on that. And so, but from what we're understanding, he's kind of working his way into that rotation as well. So it looks like it's going to be a 5-man rotation right now with those defensive tackles. That's better than I thought. I like that too. I like that too.
I was thinking it would be more like 2.5 or 3. I mean, honestly, coming into camp, that's kind of what you're thinking. But if they've got them broken out into those groups and they're mixing and matching, I like that. I mean, here's the nature of the beast too. With the timing rules in college football now, you got to sub. I mean, you got to. If you want to slow down, if things aren't going well for you, or a team's moving the ball on you, and they take somebody out, you got to sub. But you're not going to if you're not confident in who you got back there. So
exactly,
you got to have. That's the other piece of linebacker depth that's terrifying.
Another some information. Let's see. I'm just looking at different things. As I mentioned, Jay Haynes looked a little rusty the other day. You could tell, he's just not where he was. So that's something interesting to pay attention to now as they get into.
I'm kind of interested in how those guys are going to run out. Those running backs, like 2,
right
3,
now.
4.
Well, right now it's Davidson, Johnson,
Ezemume.
Easy
E. We'll go Easy E on the pod.
Easy E. And then it's Green and Haynes. Is what it looks like right now. That's how it's kind of looking at the moment. Probably can interchange those last 3, but it's clearly Johnson and Gideon Davidson with doing the first stuff. And then speaking of CJ, Chris Johnson Jr., doing some punt returns the other day. See him doing some punt stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Bring back a dynamic element in that.
Man, that'll be good. Maybe Jacoby Ford's teaching them how to do it. I don't know. Could we just, because Jacoby and CJ could play. Yeah. I don't know if you see him like physically
today.
Could we just like maybe put helmets on Jacoby and CJ and put them back out there? I mean, nobody's gonna know. Just put, what's Jacoby? Put number 8 on CJ?
I mean, Jacoby. I'm sure he probably can't run the sub 1100 anymore, but he might be able to run a 12.
Right.
So that dude for me.
Yeah,
I'd be able to run a 12.
I mean, but he looks good, dude. I mean, I saw him during Dabo's media outing, and I looked at him. I said, dude, first of all, you still look the same age. He doesn't look like he's 35 or whatever he is now. It looks nothing like that. He looks like he's 22 years old, and he's built like he's 25 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you could play right now and just beat the crap out of all these guys. And he's like, well, thanks. I don't know if that's the case. I'm like, you at least look it. You look the part. That's what I told him. You
got getting some predictions coming in on the wire here. NTM 87-54, 10-2 is the prediction. Neither of those losses are at LSU.
All right. I want to know what those other two losses are.
Yeah, maybe get in and let us know who those are.
I just can't see a 10-2 season and not being one of them.
We got return of the LSU fans on here. George Nienstedt. Sorry if I mispronounced that. That's also kind of our thing. We mispronounce names on this show. LSU fan, I know Clemson's going to compete, not overlooking them, but I think we pull it out in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would say now.
That's what me and Will would say today.
Yeah. I mean, I totally would go with that. I can see that. Nothing's telling me right now. I say LSU is the favorite, but I take Clemson in the, 9 points right now? I take Clemson in the 9 until they get to 7. I would take Clemson until they get to 7.
Until they get to the home game swing. I'm taking
exactly.
I would take that money.
Yep.
John Grant jumps in. You think we run the ball more than one time in the second half against LSU?
I guess you're good. Okay, here's the thing. Are we talking 2014 Georgia, or are we talking Garrett Riley? I don't know which game we're talking. I don't know. But I would say yes. I just hope Clemson can pick up a first down in the second half. Because that was the problem there against Georgia in 2014. They just couldn't pick up a first down. One first down in that game against Georgia. And remember, it was 21-21. It was an electric first half.
Yeah.
Neither team could stop each other. And then Georgia made some adjustments, and Clemson just couldn't answer.
Well, and Georgia ran the play that they should have run 5 times the previous year, 6 times that year, just student body right.
Yeah. By the way, Georgia beat Clemson that year. And I have to remind people of this. They ended up beating Clemson. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Like you said, ran the same play. They ran the student body right.
They should have. I mean, they could have run it. They could have run it 50 times and scored 50 times in Death Valley the year before. I mean, because the one time they did run it in Death Valley the year before, I mean, there wasn't nobody touched.
Alex, I remind people that fourth quarter, that was against the defense that led the nation in total defense that year and scoring defense, and that was what was so crazy about that game was that told you how tired that defense was because that defense was nasty. That was one of the nastiest Clemson defenses ever. And but they were so tired because the offense was 1-2-3 punt, 1-2-3 punt, 1-2-3 punt. Like it didn't matter who was playing quarterback; they couldn't do anything. And they just got worn down. And by the fourth quarter, the defense was spent. They just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, John, with a follow-up. Last year, first play of the second half was an 8-yard run, and that was it. You're right.
That's right. That's right, John.
Because it was the first play of the second half.
That's
and
right.
Me, you, and everybody else in God's earth that was watching it was like, dang, maybe they're going to run the ball more in the second half and kind of take control of this thing. And they never ran it. They didn't even try again the rest of the game.
And then when I hear what I found out, hearing Ellis Johnson going and saying, well, they don't even run in practice. Well, that tells you why they never ran the ball last year.
They'd already exhausted all of their run practice in the first half. So they ran their one run play left on the script in the second half. From
everything I hear, Alex, everybody feels so much better about the direction of the offense.
I mean, it seemed like even the players talking, like if you listen to what TJ Moore said without saying it, it sounded like he's a lot happier, and that part of the reason he's still wearing a paw on his helmet.
Yeah,
every change in direction.
I mean, it is like night and day how different the attitude is with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, TJ Moore literally said, "Yeah, I know Chad's going to get the ball to his playmakers."
Yep.
As opposed to, that's kind of what you read into that is, who didn't do that?
Yeah, exactly. And who didn't even hand the ball off to anybody? Hey, Cade, let's throw the ball 4 straight times.
Yeah.
Just couldn't establish the run at all. But what else we got? Anything else we got? Anything good? Appreciate you guys getting these comments in, by the way.
Yeah, Tiger Paw GT says regarding Hayes being rusty, is it still a concern the knee isn't going to be healthy?
Yes, we're going to find out. Again, he's out there in full practice, so he's been cleared. I think it's more like
trust. You think it's trust?
Trust in his knee, yeah. Because remember, guys, he couldn't come back last year. So, he injured it against SMU, right? And then he's out a whole year. So think about that from a mental standpoint. Who was it? Was it C.J. Davidson? It might have been C.J. Davidson. I remember I think it's C.J. Davidson when he tore his knee up. No, it wasn't C.J. Davidson. He played with C.J. Davidson though that year. Who was the running back?
Zach Brooks?
No, not Zach Brooks. You're in the right area, though.
Yeah.
He was like freshman year with Wayne Gallman as a redshirt freshman in 14, did real well, tore his knee.
And I know exactly who you're talking about, and I can't. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I remember him saying that first
DJ
year,
Howard?
No, not DJ Howard.
No.
I remember him saying that first year after he came back, like every time he cut or whatever, he was worried his knee was going to buckle, even though it wasn't. Even though everybody told him it's fine, but he said it was in the back of his mind. And so, is Adams? Adams keeps popping in my head.
Oh, Tyshawn Dye?
No, not Tyshawn Dye.
He was injured.
Not Tyshawn Dye.
Oh, it was a back injury.
He played no 14 season. I know that.
Yeah, Tyson Dye had a back injury in 2013 and redshirted because of it.
No, he didn't play till 2014. He came in as a freshman at 14.
Well, you know what's going to happen. We're going to figure this out as soon as it's done.
Yeah, I think Adams is
Adam Choice.
Adam Choice. Thank you. There's an Adam.
James Thompson. Thank you, sir.
Adam Choice. After he tore his ACL, when he was coming back that next year, he talked about that like it was in his head.
Yeah,
he's like, I couldn't get it out of my head. Every time I went to cut, I felt like my knee was going to buckle. That's hard. It's some guys like Deshaun Watson, they get right on with it and they go on and they don't even think about it.
Yeah, or Amari Rodgers, same thing. He's
same thing. Yeah. Some guys, though, they do think about it and they struggle coming back, So it's really how you handle it mentally. And so right now, he's probably just not trusting it as maybe like he should. But that's going to take time. He's got to get hit on it. What does Dabo say? Man, once you get hit one time, then you're good.
Well, that's kind of what Wesco said. It is, to the media this week is, I forgot how much I like getting hit. Like, he already had that moment. So.
Yeah, Bryant Wesco's like a Lynn Swan. Like, that dude doesn't care, man. He really – because doing what he did tells you he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't really think about what he does to his body. Like, and so that's great, but that's also like, you got to take care of yourself sometimes too. You got to go down if you need to, But I love the attitude, man. I love that attitude. I just love to hit. I love to get hit. That's to me, that's football, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's football. Yeah. That's a football player right there, So kudos to Bryant Wisco. So, all right, Alex, what do we got? A couple more, and then we'll call this a night.
We did get one of the losses from NTM. Said one of the Friday games, which that lines up with
Cal. Cal is definitely one. Gosh, does Clemson lose 3 times in a row to Duke? Is that going to happen?
I don't know. I just don't think Duke's roster
is Duke Dabo Swinney's Wake Forest.
God, I hope not.
What I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I just don't think Duke's roster is.
I don't think it's as good, and they don't have the quarterback.
They lost their quarterback so late that they didn't have a chance to replace him.
I agree. Yeah, I think I would, but they're really good defensively, though. They're going to be good defensively.
Well, it's a Manny Diaz football team.
Yeah,
they'll be good on defense.
Yeah, it's like Wake Forest.
Andrew Feltman is still amazed about Amari Rodgers. Blew my mind. He came back as fast as he did. Didn't seem to faze him at all.
I've never seen anything like it.
Witch doctor, man.
It is.
People in Central, you know what I'm talking about, the witch doctor.
Listen, I don't care what nobody says. The greatest anything, I don't care. Sorry, South Carolina, George Rogers never scored against Clemson. Doesn't matter in the rivalry. George Rogers does not matter in the Clemson-South Carolina rivalry because he didn't do anything. Right? He didn't. You can name like great Clemson stars in the Clemson-Carolina rivalry that did some great things, but some that didn't, right? But when you think about the most courageous thing ever in the Clemson-South Carolina rivalry was Deshaun Watson playing on a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And leading his team to a win. We will never see anything like that again.
No.
That still blows my mind that guy played that day and played as well as he did. Yeah. He's out there running around, cutting.
And you guys – Clemson Insider reported he tore his ACL when he did.
At Georgia Tech. Yeah.
At Georgia Tech. And everybody was like, man, you guys are crazy. He didn't tear his ACL. He's playing. Sure enough, after the game's like, hey, we got some news. Deshaun's going to get his leg fixed because he tore his ACL.
we had
Ed McGranahan were on it.
Well, it was Robert and Ed McGranahan. That one wasn't on me. I didn't do that. That was on those guys did the reporting on that. They did a good job, and they had guys on the scene in the locker room reporting this to them, and so we knew what it was, and so regardless of what everybody else was saying. And it came to find to be we were accurate, as we knew we were. But still blows my mind, though, to this day, Alex. Nobody can. I'm sorry. George Rogers won the Heisman Trophy. That's great. Didn't do crap against Clemson.
Yeah.
Didn't do crap against Clemson. Deshaun Watson played on a torn ACL and beat him.
Yep.
I'll bring that up forever. Nothing that their guys can do. Sterling Sharp, yeah, he's great. Didn't do what Deshaun Watson did.
Yep.
Robert Edwards, yep, he was great. Didn't do what Deshaun Watson did. Phil Petty, he was great. Didn't do what Deshaun Watson did. Guy played on a torn ACL and beat you.
Yeah.
He went out there and beat you. Maybe the only one I could compare it to, because you didn't see it coming, was Dylan Thompson's performance.
Yeah.
In 2012,
yeah.
when he filled in at quarterback for that game and led South Carolina to a surprising win. That's the only one. But it's because he was the backup, but he wasn't hurt.
Right. Yeah.
So that was unbelievable. I'll never forget it. Like when he came out, like we were watching warm-ups, we're like, Deshaun Watson's warming up. I'm like, what the hell? He ain't playing. It's just we're all like, yeah, he's just out there.
Just Dabo's beaking him. Yeah.
He ain't playing. And then he runs out there in the first play. We're like, holy crap. What? I was like, how I got my binoculars? I'm like, is that Deshaun Watson in the huddle?
Lest you get confused. Yeah.
I'm sitting there, that Deshaun Watson in the huddle. And then he run out there. I'm like, he's running out there. I'm like yelling at everybody in the press, Deshaun Watson's running out there. I'll never forget it, man. It was crazy, man.
Yeah.
And then to play the whole game, that was just, nothing's going to compare to it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I'm just going to say it. So anyway, hey man, that was a great podcast.
Oh yeah. Tell the people when we're going to be back. If we know, pending flu and catastrophe. Hopefully
a week from Tuesday. So camp is here. We're here. Pending any flus from me or Alex or whatever, we should be back. So we apologize for what happened the other day, but can't help it that I was on my deathbed. Didn't even tell Alex. Alex calls me up, and I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to tell Alex.
Well, I get on here. Normally, if we're having a show, like on our back end, the show's already set up to go out. Like the name of the show and the platforms it's going to are there. I get on here, I'm like, there ain't even a show built. Like, I'm rushing home from work. Like, I'm 2 hours time different, So if we're going at 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock Eastern, and I'm like booking it back from work to get in and see the wife and baby and get on here. And I'm sitting up here. I'm like, well, it's about 5 minutes till. If Will's running late, he usually will call me by now. So I guess I would give him a call. And sure enough, it's, hey man, how's it going? I'm like, how fast it go for you? What do you mean? You sound terrible. So yeah, week from Tuesday, we'll be back.
We'll be back. So anyway, man, appreciate all you guys joining us. We appreciate, obviously, FanDuel for sponsoring us and the Clemson Insider as always as well. For Alex Dodd, I'm Will Vandervort. We'll talk to you next time on Believe in Clemson Football.